Okay, so today we're going to start off this IEP meeting by introducing ourselves for Carolyn's mother. I'm Miss Walters, and I'm the principal here at Mills Elementary.
I'm Miss Meadows. I'm the special education teacher here. I love having Carlyn in my class. She's a joy to have.
I'm Mr. Gill, and I'm Carlyn's general education teacher, and she spends the majority of the day with me, and she's a very bright girl and works very hard in class.
I'm Mrs. Steele. It's good to see you again, Mrs. Smith. I'm the school psychologist. I help with Carlyn's teachers and Carlyn's diagnosis.
As most of you know, I'm Carlyn's mother, and I want to thank you all for helping her throughout the school and her schoolwork.
Mr. Gill, would you like to talk about what accommodations Carlyn will be receiving?
Absolutely, Miss Walters. Carlyn has been doing very well in the areas of math and science. She is staying up with her peers in those areas. However, in the areas of history and reading, Carlyn tends to struggle very much. We have covered reading all year, and there has been little to no improvement in Carlyn's work. We've just introduced history to help them have an understanding for it next year, but she does not like to work with the other students on activities and often will sit by herself to do the work. Ms. Meadows, Ms. Meadows will fill you in with what we're going to do with Carlyn's in the area of reading and history.
Okay, so here recently we've found that Carlyn has been diagnosed with mild autism. So her peer interaction, we're going to try to place her in a classroom with another student that has the same diagnosis as her, so that they can work on their reading and history skills along with their peer involvement. Hopefully this will get her wanting to work with her peers. I know she's very shy. As for reading and history, we're going to be working on those areas together so she may have a better understanding of the material. And all of her tests will be administered by me, and she will also have extra time to complete all of them. She will also have an aide with her present in the classroom if she needs help in any of her other subjects.
Okay, so Miss Meadows, you will be working with Carlyn's in the areas that she's struggling in, right?
Yes, that's right.
So the other student that will be in the room with Carlyn, will he have been in the same grade, or will he be in a higher grade than her?
They are the same age, so they are in the same grade, and they both struggle in the same areas.
Okay, so I have some copies of the IEP form that I'm going to just pan around. I think for this meeting it's just important if we review some information and make sure we're on the same page. Shows the address and everything correct that you see on the first page there.
Yes.
Okay. So this one is just, the next page is just about the future planning that's going to be going on and different special instruction factors. So we don't have to worry about page 3 as much because it's about post-secondary transition. We're not there yet. But if you turn to page 6, or page 5, section 6, this is where we'll start discussing what we're going to be doing for Carlyn in the upcoming weeks.
Okay, so right now, Carlyn can only read 20 sight words. She also has issues sounding out words that she does not recognize, so it affects her reading and her reading comprehension. She also tends to lose focus when a teacher is reading the class a story. She can answer very short questions like yes or no, questions about the story, but when you ask her about key details, she tends to struggle with those. And she's also very antisocial with her peers, as we have already talked about. I know that she played basketball this past year with the school, and she tends to be closer with those children, but she still doesn't want to have that peer-to-peer involvement. So some of the annual goals we want for Carlyn is we want to increase her reading proficiency to 20 words per minute, and we want to hopefully have 50 by the end of the year. And we also want to increase her reading comprehension skills. So how we're going to measure those is like we're going to start a portfolio on her and see how her work's progressed throughout the year. We'll also be doing observations like every week. We'll also be doing like short-term assessments, so like we can also see a change. And we're also going to do like a smiley face chart, so she can tell us how she's feeling, if she liked the activity, if not. I know the first objective we want to try to get Carlyn to do is to learn new vocabulary, and we're going to give her pictures to help with that, so hopefully that will start off helping with her reading. And we're going to try to do these reports every 5 weeks.
Okay, sounds good.
So on section 7, we're just going to she's going to discuss how often she's going to meet with Carlin.
So it looks like how we're going to do this is Carlin will spend 2 hours with me Monday through Friday, and we'll work in the areas she tends to struggle. For the accommodations, she'll, like I've said before, she'll have the tests given to her by me. They'll receive extra time, and she'll also be in a room with little to no distractions, so she can't get distracted whenever she's trying to focus. We are going to look into behavior since she's not wanting to interact with her peers. So we're going to try to get her a little bit more involved with the little boy that I'm going to be working with both of them. So hopefully that'll help with behavior and hopefully get her more interacted in school.
On the next page, section H, just about transportation, which we won't be worrying about that right now since Carlin doesn't need that. Section 9 is just about the extracurricular activities, so like how we talked about basketball. Section 10 is just things that we've considered for Carlin. So we've met up and considered these different things, and that's kind of how we've formed the accommodations that we're going to be discussing next.
On section 12, we're going to be talking about the statewide and district-wide testing. So in the area of ELA, we're going to have the special education teacher who will help her read the assessment and give her extra time on that. And then for the social studies part, we're going to do where the teacher will help her read the assessment and do the extra time as well. And for the statewide testing, those two things seem like they're going to be the same. So she'll get those tests read to her, and then she'll get extra time if she needs it.
Okay. Section 13 is just going to talk about the exemptions. And section 14 here is where we're going to sign. So this is just saying that we had this meeting and we understand everything that we've talked about. So if you want to start out. And then on this back page right here, just have you sign where the parent signature is. And that's just stating that you're giving consent to initiate this special education and the services that we're going to provide for the IEP. Okay.
Another thing you might want to know, Carlin will be meeting with me once a week to try to work on an opening up to her fellow peers and start, working with them, communicating with them.
Okay. Ms. Smith, do you have any more questions or anything you'd like to know about?
No, I think I'm good. You guys have it all figured out.
Okay. Well, this concludes the meeting. Thank you all for coming. If you have any questions at any time, just feel free to call us.
Okay. Thank you guys.
You're welcome.
Thanks.